everyone. In this video, I will introduce you to the wood box project from the course ARC 101. Before I jump into the box project, we're gonna talk about wood. Wood is good, but why is wood good? There are many benefits to wood. Wood is sustainable, wood is renewable, which means that we can keep planting trees to get wood. Wood is good with tension and compression, and wood is also easy to cut. Wood gets split into two main groups, which is hardwood and softwood. Softwood is from cone-bearing trees like fir and pine. Relatively simple cell structure, plain figure, fast-growing, plentiful, relatively inexpensive, generally soft, easy worked, but not all softwoods are soft. Like for example, Douglas fir is harder than some of the hardwoods. And hardwood is from broadleaf trees, more complex cell structure, often more interesting figures, slower growing, generally more expensive than softwoods. They're so denser and they have greater variety of colors and figures. So now we're gonna go into the box project. The box project is the final project from course ARC 101, Shop Stewardship, Materials and Processes. For this project, students will get to choose a wood plank to be the material for the box. The selections are different types of hardwoods, including white oak, red oak, and cherry, with different length, width, and thickness. The different planks also got cut into two different ways, which are plain saw and quarter saw. Plain saw has the cathedral or flame point look to the grain, and quarter saw has tight grain and vertical pattern look to the grain. Students would choose one depending on how big their box is going to be and their wood preference. And for this project, I chose quarter sawn red oak to be the material for my box because I like the design of quarter sawn with the tight grain and the red tint of red oak. Here are my drawings for my design with measurements. You can go ahead and pause the video to look at the design if you want. Now I'm gonna talk about my process and how I get to the final product. First, I plane the plank with a planer, which it will shave off the bump and excess wood at uneven places. Then I put my measurements and design on the plank with a pencil and a ruler and some other tools to get the design more accurate. And then I would decide to make the cut of the design out of the plank and decide which part would be a closed cut and which part would be an open cut. I used a chop saw to cut the planks into shorter length, so it's basically 4 sides of my box. And then for the closed cut, I would use the drill press. I drew a hole so I could make a closed cut with the scroll saw. So the scroll saw, you can lift the top up and then put your wood with a hole in it and then close it, and then you can cut it from the inside. So that's called a close cut on a scroll saw. And I use bandsaw to make open cut, which bandsaw is a thin saw just vertically, and you can cut it from the outside. After having all the cuts, I assemble the box with wood glue and then I clamp them together. The next part is the sanding part to make your product smoother and nicer to look at. So sandpaper have different grits. The lower the number, the rougher the sandpaper is. First, I use the lower grit sandpaper. It's the 80 grit to get rid of all the rough surfaces, all the big bumps on the wood surface. Then I gradually move up to higher grit sandpapers. I move from 80 to 120 to 220 and to 320 grit to achieve smoother surfaces. After sanding, I would put some coat of finishing on the box. In this case, I used 3 layers of polyurethane matte finish. I let each layer completely dry before applying the next layer. After the 3rd layer has dried, I put on a wax finish using paste finishing wax for the box. And the wax basically seal and fill in all the tiny holes in the box and make it smoother, and it's also with the matte finish it protect the wood. And that is my final product. Thank you for joining to learn about this project.